Hello everyone, welcome to a new mapping series. Today I'm going to be taking a little darker tone to this series. This is going to be World Legends Endsieg. What if Germany pulled out a victory in World War II? This world is going to be quite horrible and quite awful considering most things. So, let's get into the lore of this, because it is not all same. Well, let's put it from the perspective of General Eisenhower. And what he said is, the war was only supposed to last the war was supposed to last until 1945. But by 1946, we all realized that the war was not going away anytime soon. Mr. Mustache Man, but for the sake of this, YouTube's policies can be shoved up their ass, because this is my dark story. Hitler, unfortunately enough, has gained complete hegemony over Europe and rules with an iron fist across all lands. We currently have Germania proper, which consists of Germany, Austria, Czechia, the Benelux, Denmark, Norway, and a new province within Germania meant for German citizens only, called Adolfsburg. St. Petersburg has been entirely changed to fit the Nazi standards of the world. Hungary expanded a little bit, and yeah, it's just all around not going well. Oh. So, let's get into this. So, as we take a look, let's take a stroll from the tips of Portugal to Archangel, the Eurozone. Portugal has unfortunately suffered by the fate of the Axis powers, now completely having total hegemony over Europe. Portugal was forced to concede some lands in Africa for total security of their nation. And then we see Francisco Franco in in Spain, having recently helped out the Axis. They have gained Morocco and some territories and a new territory in Africa. Then we go to France, or otherwise known as the French state. The French state is a total puppet government set up by Germany. And you will see main puppet governments are with a mark of the color of the nation that rules them. It is an unfortunate sight to see, but unfortunately, France is completely lost. France is lost, and the United Kingdom is not much better. Then we take a stroll to the British Isles. London was carpet bombed into oblivion. With London basically non-existent, Churchill was forced by the people to evacuate to New England. Well, not this New England. This New England. This is now a sanctuary for all British folk escaping Europe. This area is specifically meant to be populated by the British people until they can one day return to their homeland. France also has another state called the Free French Republic, hiding out in South America. Then we take a stroll to Adolf's Third Reich. Germania, a huge project for Germany, has already undertaken. With Berlin being renamed to Germania, a new Berlin was constructed in the heartland, in the direct heart of the German Empire, called New Berlin. This would be a place of SS officer rank meetings. So as Germania is one of the biggest industrial cities in the world, spanning the size larger than any other city in the world. Just behind it, New Berlin, which is also a very big city. Then we go to Nazi-occupied North. Norway is unfortunately under the complete and total jurisdiction of Germany, and their puppets, they all say the same. Then we have Reichskommissariat Icelandic, which is a federation between Iceland and Greenland unified. And then we go to the Reichskommissariats in the east. Reichskommissariat Polonia, Baltica, Ostland, Ukraine, and Moscow, and Donkubansk, or Caucasus. These places are unfortunate because they are ruled under the fist of Adolf, separate from Germany, but ruled all the same. These places are being persecuted, and all the main people who live here are unfortunately enslaved by the Reich to make way for new German settlers. And I want to go on and note for a disclaimer that I do not support any of the actions that the Nazis did in World War II. This is purely out of the interest of learning for what could happen if the Axis won. What world would we live in? What choices could be made by different powers? And could we free Europe from the Iron Cross? Adolfsburg is a new project by Hitler, constructed in St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg was torn down and reconstructed according to Nazi standards. Finland and Sweden are both hiding in the corner, waiting for someone to help them, as well as Scotland, Wales, and Ireland. Then we move to Greater Hungary, who has absorbed Slovakia and Transylvania and has become a huge power. Then we have Croatia. It's a little worse for wear, but most Croatians have migrated here. Then we have Serbia, and then we have the Italo proper of Serbia, Macedonia, and Greece. Then we have, of course, Romania and Bulgaria. Turkey also exists in a very divided state. Along with this, Italy's whole rule over over northern Africa, with the French states of Chad, Sahara, Algiers, Libya, Egypt, Somaliland, Djibouti, and Ethiopia, along with Levant, Lebanon, Jordan, and Syria. Then we have all of Germany's proper holdings in Africa. It's a lot, but we'll have to make do. With this, in the Far East, we have Japan's total hegemony over all of the Pacific. The war was lost for the United States once Germany and Japan helped drop a nuke on Honolulu, which ended up turning the entire island into nuclear ash. This is a no-go zone, as the fallout is too harsh for anyone to survive. Then we go on to the puppet states. All of this that you see here is Japanese proper. All of it is controlled directly by the emperor. And then we have client states like China, Manchuria, Inner Mongolia, Siberia, Vietnam, Malay, Indonesia, and New Japanica, or Papua New Guinea. Australia and New Zealand have survived this terrible fate and are working with the Organization of Free Nations, with the United States, Australia, New Zealand, Brazil, and all these European escapees. The island of Hispaniola and Jamaica have been turned into a sanctuary for Europeans and fleeing Adolf's Reich. The world is cold and harsh, unforgiving. Churchill, in the darkest time of this world, has unfortunately fled to Labrador Island, to Newfoundland, where he dies shortly after arriving. America is crippled. Having total control over Cuba and Puerto Rico, they install a policy called the Free European Policy. They make it their entire goal to work with Australia, New Zealand, Brazil, Free France, Free Britain, and the European haven, along with Mexico and Canada, to soon try to retake all of Europe up and liberate them from the Reich. Everyone in the old world is in chaos, anarchy, and the only free places are here. And as you can see, fracturedness has started to grow. India did manage to stop the Japanese, but unfortunately after the British collapsed, they fell apart too, forming into small nations, such as Bangladesh, Burma, or Myanmar, whichever you'd like to call it, and Pakistan. These nations are ready to fight for their freedom, but unfortunately with two superpowers growing, there is little hope left for them. Russia is a total clusterfuck. This is the Perm Soviet government hiding out against biding its time until it can reinvade the Reich and take back what it lost. This is the Republic of Turkestan, a small power within the region, held up by Turkish people. Then this is the Southern Siberian government, the Southern Free Siberian government, and the Northern Free Siberian government. And that does it for the explanation part of this series. As we have explained the events that have happened until now. The world is an unforgiving place, and let us be glad in our timeline that the Allies managed to secure victory in Europe and in the Pacific. But for the sake of learning, let us peer back and see what humanity could have come. What Churchill, America, France, and all the other allies feared from the world. We will see you next time on the new series, World Legends Endsieg.